Welcome back to Planet Hex. I'm Andrew Horn. It's been a while. Sorry about that. I've been drunk dealing with school holidays. They're always fun. I'm here with Alex. Thanks, Alex. And Joe. He's very responsive. And we're nerding out in town. Sunny Nottingham. It's very sunny today. Still very sunny. We've just been to Forbidden Planet, and that was like this. Home now. It's been a really good weekend, but I'm ready for another, really. But anyway, let's check out what's been going on in the world of VHS and video store, retro culture around the web. There's been some good stories that I've missed while I've been taking a bit of a break over the school holidays. Let's check those out right now. So first one here is over on womansworld.com. Shoppers are racing to TJ Maxx for a VHS inspired candle. Here's the $6 video store Candle Deep. Find out why the nostalgic VHS candle is sparking a frenzy, plus a great dupe to buy online. Video store. What did your video store smell like? Mine smelled like sweat, a little edge of mould, depression, desperation. The combined aroma of people that were looking for something they may never find in those video cases. It probably smells like carpet cleaner, plastic. VHS. Maybe an overheated player. That'd be awesome. But yeah, check that out. That's on womansworld.com. It can tell you where to get hold of that. The next story I found that I thought was worth the time of my wonderful viewers. This is so cool. So we've got an MND sufferer finds their own voice after decades of an old VHS tape thanks to Bristol technology. This is on bristolworld.com. This is really, really cool. This lady, Sarah Ezekiel, was left without a voice or the use of her hands at age just 34 due to the onset of motor neuron disease in 2000. But because of a VHS tape of her changing a baby's nappy, her robotic voice from the devices that she uses to speak has been able to be given more of her personality. That is so cool. That is so cool. This is one of the reasons I talk about VHS tapes being historical artifacts. That is awesome. I love that. There's been a lot of news about an app going around that can turn your iPhone recordings into VHS style tapes and home movies, or make it, give them that feel anyway. It's just called cassette, and there's all these patches and effects you can put over things, and I like it. I like stuff like that. Anything that makes things look like retro stuff, I'm always going to be for, just because it's, I have my issues with this era, and that's just, I don't want to sound like the granddad in The Simpsons yelling at clouds, but I know I'm going to sound like that at some point. That's over on popularscience.com, but yeah, Popular Science, but it's also on a bunch of other sites. And go and check out the app. If you've used it, let me know. I don't have an iPhone myself. I have a Galaxy, so I'm not going to use that one. This was an interesting one. There were a few eye openers in here that I didn't realise things weren't available anymore. Excuse me. This is VHS era movies that are impossible to find now. I wonder how many we've seen. In here. There's going to be some weird ones. The Song of the South was pulled from circulation for racial content. remains inaccessible on modern platforms, turning tapes into prized collector's items. But I think that will be available on something like Dailymotion or even YouTube, probably somewhere. You never know. What else is on here? Let's have a look what else is on the list. We've got ads. The Peanut Butter Solution, Canadian kids movie. The Amazing Mr. Bickford, a surreal clay animation set to Frank Zappa's music. That's going to be quite an experience. The Apple, oh my god, The Apple, a sci-fi. Read about The Apple. Check out, if you've never heard of The Apple, read about what happened with that ridiculous film. It's a sci-fi musical about fame and fame's demise. It is ludicrous. There must be at least some songs from it or clips here on YouTube, so do go and check that out. That is quite something. What else have we got? Let's have a couple more here. Jekyll and Hyde Together Again, a bawdy early 80s adult comedy. I've not seen that one, but I may have to find that out. Lancelot of the Lake, fair enough. Begotten. Oh, Eli's. I have heard of this, but I haven't seen this. Art horror film shot in stark black and white, briefly hit VHS in 1995 before disappearing. I see something further in this list that's going to be most notorious to a lot of VHS people out there. Not the advert. America 3000, that is available on a bunch of DVDs. I don't know how that's not available. That is available on a bunch of DVDs. I know that for a fact because I have it on a quadruple bill, cheapy DVD. It is out there. And it's also on a bunch of others, a bunch of streaming services. Black Devil Doll from Hell. There you go. There's one you're not going to find easily. Again, read up a legend of that, an SOV horror movie that you're not going to forget if you do end up watching that. There's some cool stuff in there. Let me know if you go to this article on MSN.com about these movies that are no longer available, supposedly impossible to find now, apart from the ones that you can. Let me know which ones you watched. This got me. This is on kqed.org. I'm not sure where that is. I'm sorry. But there is a cool story here. Rewinding to the age of VHS in all its grainy, clunky glory. Not gory. Horror head. So we've got the co-founders here of Basement VHS. Mitsu and Luca, they have founded a VHS basement rental store. Yes. Well, I say rental store. It's a loose-knit collective that's amassed a stockpile of more than 3,000 VHS tapes in a Mission District basement. Like most collectors, there's a lot of McDonald's employee training tapes out there, but this one in particular, released to address the tragedy of 9/11. There was a 9/11 training tape. McDonald's, crazy. But they are putting out a book, which is called The Basement Tapes. And as the author of a VHS-centric book, VHS Ate My Brain, VHS Ate My Brain revised edition, VHS Ate My Brain 2, The Revenge, all out now, and coming soon, VHS Ate My Brain Heavy Metal Horrors. I'm always going to back up people that are going to share more stuff about that era and capture more stuff from that era. So the book, the Basement Tapes, full colour, 352 pages of some of the weirdest titles from the Basement VHS collection. Love this, and it was launched August 30th with a day of movie screenings. That just sounds like a great day. I wish I could have been there for that. So I am going to check out the Basement Tape, see if I can get a hold of a copy over here, and see what it's like. But I'm so pleased that people are still putting content out like this, because I did it years ago, first time back in 2014, and then the last couple of years with the revised edition and so on. But I'm just really pleased that people are still finding enough of an audience and enough interest in this weird niche that we're part of to keep making content. It's great. It's really exciting because that's what we're there for. That's what we're there to do. The enthusiasts, we want to capture this stuff so it doesn't get forgotten, because to generations now, they have no idea what this stuff was. They have no idea of the cultural importance of things like record stores as well as video shops. We've still got bookstores around, but they seem kind of archaic. But they're my favourite places. I love bookstores. But this sort of thing, capturing stuff from the past, capturing these pop cultural amazing things that just that blow the mind, the fact that they just got made at all, is really, really cool. So more power to the guys behind Basement Tapes. I will be checking that out if I possibly can. This was a cool one. This isn't like a tape itself. Sort of. This VHS tape plays video, but not how you think. A Redditor, Common Kingfisher, used a video greeting card to build the VHS tape that plays videos. No VCR or TV required. If you see there, yep, it's got a little screen and it's playing The Matrix. It's not playing it from the tape, of course. That would be insane. But I just love how cool that is, and it fits very much with The Matrix. Okay, over on woodtv.com, a story about Kent County, Grand Rapids, Michigan. A local business is trying to generate both nostalgia and new memories for generations of movie fans across West Michigan. Mark and Abigail Ritzema are partnering with Rob Grimes to open Bartertown Video in Wyoming. Unfortunately, on this piece, there are no images of it. That's a bit of a letdown, so we don't get to see anything about that. But if you want to read about a new video store opening up, go to this piece over on woodtv.com and see what you can discover there. But I'm all about that. I'm all for that. Huge supporter of that. Marvelous. If you guys watching, get some photos out there, get some videos. Let's see what's going on there and share it with the world, because there is an audience out there for it. Believe me. What was the first ever video rental store and where is it? This was a cool piece I found over on faroutmagazine.co.uk about the first video store. So this is by someone from that was born in 2001. So this is what I've mentioned. There are generations that don't know any of this stuff, but there's these little between generations that capture some of it and had some of that experience. But it's weird with it being talked about as a historical event, because we were there. But yeah, it's a man named Eckhard Baum opened a shop in Kassel, Germany, which he believes is the first of its kind, and that was in the 70s. Yeah, before it all went crazy and everyone had their stuff. 1975, there we go. Check that out, that's over on faroutmagazine.co.uk. We've got here, listen, Denver's favourite genre video store has a new home in the Casa Bonita shopping centre. Video store moving to new premises. Yeah, it doesn't sound that fascinating, but to be honest, anything where a physical media store, be it VHS, be it Blu-rays, be it books, comics, anything like that, the fact that they are moving places and going to new premises where a new audience will find them just warms the heart and shows that there is still an appetite out there for these things. We've also got a story over on thestar.com. That's the Toronto Star, not the English one, thankfully. This Toronto video rental store is going strong in the age of streaming here. Why? This is Bay Street Video, which I'm sure I've mentioned before. They're doing well. Magical experience of browsing the racks for hidden gems persists this month. The store honours TIFF with its film for free picks. This is a cool story. Look, there is Bay Street Video. Treasure trove for Toronto film fans. So if you're near Toronto or you know about anything to do with that store, let me know what it's like. I'd love to go and see that. And lastly, the story I've got here, I'm going to end this on, is on the irishexaminer.com with a piece from Bernard O'Shea. 5 things I had to explain to my kids about video rental shops. Yeah. I've not really had to explain a great deal for a long time to mine, because they're sick of hearing about video rental stores from me, as you can imagine. But this is a really cool piece for anyone that's of a similar age and has kids that are very much of the streaming era, very much of the immediate gratification era of immediate downloads or DLCs for video games, or stuff like that. So, once a sacred Friday night ritual, now a baffling life lesson for my children. Yeah, Friday night was an event. Late fees were real and personal, that's true. The panic of the last copy. Impulse snacks were a trap, yeah. Oh my god, and how? What's the last one? Rewinding was mandatory. Yeah, have some respect for the next person that's going to rent it. Absolutely makes sense. If you're going to read that, that's over on irishexaminer.com. And that brings to a conclusion this week's selection of VHS and video store rental related stuff I found online in my travels beyond across this digital dominion. That's the sort of thing that a middle-aged man would say. So I have, cause that fits. But I am Andrew Hornt. If you like this sort of thing, please do check out my books. The previously mentioned VHS Ain't My Brain series. Third one of those is coming out very soon, which is VHS Ain't My Brain Heavy Metal Horrors. And again, I'm sorry I've had a bit of a break. That was over the summer holidays for the kids. It was all a bit busy, to be honest. But please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon for the next episode of Planet Hex.